This has got to stop. This has got to stop. Man, this has got to stop. This has to stop. But maybe it's justified. Look, I get tired of hearing Lonzo Ball always being in trade talk. This year, it is now Lonzo Ball. He's now expendable because we have Ayo DeSumo. Before we delve into this video, can you guys hit that like button and subscribe? It does a lot for the YouTube algorithm when you guys hit that like button. And also subscribe to my channel. It's absolutely free. You know, it's better to give than to receive. So please hit that like button. Thank you so much.
You are now getting a royal perspective.
Now, guys, I'm getting a little tired of hearing this. Lonzo Ball always being in trade talk. I mean, it has become a paradigm. First it was Lonzo Ball on the Lakers. Oh, Jordan Clarkson is better than Lonzo Ball. Then all of a sudden, he went to the Pelicans. What did we hear? Nickeil Alexander-Walker is now better than Lonzo Ball. Now we're in the present day. Lonzo now is on the Chicago Bulls, and now what we're hearing? Yeah, we're hearing it again. Now it's Ayo DeSumo, who's a whole lot better than Lonzo Ball. We got to trade Zoe. This is becoming old now, but I can kind of see why fans are clamoring for such a move. Because honestly, as a Lonzo Ball fan, can you blame them in a sense? Hear me out. Now, what Lonzo Ball does, his brilliance, it doesn't necessarily show up in the basic stats, right? So a lot of times as Lonzo Ball fans, we're trying to justify Lonzo's significance. And a lot of times it's hard when Zoe is so heavily reliant upon being a perimeter-oriented player, pretty much shooting a three, just literally just one aspect of an NBA game on the offensive end. And then when his backups come in and they show a multi-faceted game or a more complex game, when they show they can penetrate, they can shoot up the dribble, they can drive, they can dunk, they can draw fouls, they can generate the offense within the offense. And then Zoe is relied upon one aspect of it. Hey, I'm going to generate my offense off somebody else's penetration. I'm going to wait until the ball swings back to me within the offensive possession. While a lot of his backups, they're pretty much creating off the dribble. They're pretty much generating the offense without playing within the offense. They can create their own shot. While Zoe's waiting for somebody to collapse the defense, then they draw the defense in, and then they kick it back out to Zoe, and then Zoe shoots the three-point shot. And then there's some times in which he's on, and a lot of times he's off, unfortunately. And the reason why his percentage is so high because he'll have a few bad shooting nights, and then he have this one night that he's shooting, 5 for 7, or he'll shoot a 2 for 3, which percentage-wise is high. But he went a couple games ago 1 for 7. So it appears as if, this man shooting the 3-point percentage at a high level. But a lot of times, if you watch defenses, nobody really respects Zoe. Even in year 5, you still see folks sagging off Lonzo Ball. There's a reason why DeMar was able to kick the ball out to Zoe playing against the Brooklyn Nets, and Zoe just drained it. He was wide open because they felt as if, okay, we're gonna respect DeMar Rose's penetration, and we're gonna let Zoe shoot. He had an off shooting night that game anyway. We're gonna let Zoe shoot. Even in year number 5, there's still some folks who don't. Now, I know a lot of Zoe fans might give me a lot of hate and vitriol about it, but it's true. Now, do I like the fact that Lonzo Ball is always in trade talks? No, I don't. I'm going to explain why. Because obviously, a lot of fans are justified because Zoe doesn't necessarily pass the eye test. As I alluded to earlier, when Zoe comes in on the offensive end, he's camping out around the three-point line, not doing anything else, not necessarily a lot of nuances to his game. It's just pretty much it's only one aspect of his game. When somebody else comes in, they drive, they can penetrate, they can generate a little bit of offense. And when Zoe has shown signs of that, it's a very small sample size, and it's also a very small, inconsistent sample size of it. So it's kind of hard to justify why some fans feel as if, this guy's better. Now I'm gonna get into this whole IO thing, but if you look at it, I remember Zoe went out last year against the Pelicans, and then all of a sudden Nikhil comes in, he drops 38 points. Everybody's saying we don't need Lonzo, we don't need Lonzo. Well, it's easy to drop 38 points when the defense didn't play for you. It's easy to drop 38 when you got a chip on your shoulder. It's easy to drop 38 when you're not doing it on the defensive end, which I'm going to talk about. So a lot of folks, we have a double standard, right? We'll say, oh man, this dude is sorry because he don't put up the offensive numbers as such as other superstars. But a lot of our superstars, they ain't really two-way players. Look at the NBA game, right? If you look at it, a lot of times they perceive Zoe as being the offensive weak player or the weaker offensive player because obviously Zoe doesn't do much. He just can't run the offensive line, run a three-point line. That's it. So typically, pretty much superstars are pretty much check Zoe on offense. They take a break, and then what does Zoe do? Now he has to guard the superstar, the best offensive perimeter player on the opposite end, and he shuts him down. He gives him a hard time. But a lot of times, defense is not necessarily a glorified stat because we don't necessarily quantify Zoe's impact. There's no stat that says Zoe stopped this guy in this possession. We can give him a point for that. We have to look deeper into the analytics and say, okay, I see why Zoe is such an impact player because he gets it done on that end. Well, why can't we have that same energy for DeMar DeRozan, who doesn't get it done on the defensive end? Or Zach LaVine, who was on the Olympics, being a defensive stalwart, not only come back and now he's kind of lackluster on that end. Because they're giving you the glamour stats. The stats that we can literally sit there and say, okay, he shot 5 for 7. He went 6 for 10 from 3, 60%. He went 3 for 4, 75%. He dropped a 30-point triple-double. All those offensive nuances can be shown up in basic stats versus those contribution. You necessarily can't quantify unselfish basketball. A lot of times I feel as if Zoe is unselfish at a fault. Like Zoe, when you on the court with less than stellar NBA players, why are you acquiescing to the talent on the court? Why not be the dog? Why not be the man? That's why when folks look at your contemporaries who are your backups and they have a multifaceted game, when they drive in the lane, when they penetrate, when they draw fouls, when they have different nuances and aspects of the game in which they show and they put pressure on the defense versus when you come down, you kind of get the ball up and then you wait until the gravity pulls somebody in and then they kick it back out to you for a spot of 3. When these guys can sit there and get their shot the dribble with Zoe, you got to give Zoe his props. That's my guy. Zoe can get it, and he has shown a very small sample size. That's why it's very you can argue his offensive growth, right? Because he'd only show you a very limited size of it. That little 5-game stretch, Zoe was in his bag, as a lot of folks would say. He was pulling out shots, the turnaround, the mid-range, the off, the dribble. Zoe was getting to the foul line. He was actually giving you more than just that, hey, I'm going to rely upon getting my shot within the offense, which is probably, Zoe's natural disposition, which is also a weakness, I feel as if, because as an NBA guard, it's your job to set the table. And a lot of folks will say set the table means play within the offense. Well, a lot of our top tier guards, they can penetrate. They're the guy that's drawing the defense in. But as I said earlier, how can we have a standard for Zoe being the person guarding the best offensive player, perimeter player on the defensive end, and then you give DeMar and Zach or even Vooch a pass because they're putting up the glorified stats. Now, if you know the NBA game, this man got to get some rest somewhere, right? So the minute somebody comes in and Zoe Zoe believes in being a star in his role. He doesn't necessarily want to be that guy from what I can tell anyway. But I've heard on record that he likes to be the star in his role. And he understands that, okay, I got some dynamic offensive weapons. Let me, I feel as if my impact can be greater to the team and felt on the defensive end. So therefore, I don't have to necessarily assert myself on the offensive end. I can just wait till the ball swings back to me off the friction, off the gravity, off the pull of other people. Right? When the defense collapses, somebody's open. And I'll just be ready for the spot-up shot. Right? I don't like it as a Zoe fan because I feel as if that's somewhat wasted talent because the guy can do so much more. And that's why he's so heavily criticized. Hence why we get into this IO situation, right? Now, in the past 4 games, Io has scored double digits, the double doubles, over 10 points, over 10 assists. He's average, right? But there's a missing factor. How is he garnering all of this assists, right? I know a lot of folks are saying, well, he's averaging more assists than Zoe. At the time, Vooch wasn't hitting nothing. Now all of a sudden, Vooch is all of a sudden awakened giant, which I said before. Give Vooch some time to really understand his niche and his role within the offense. And once he gets comfortable and see where he can impact the offense, we can see a more reliable Vooch. So there was this coincidence that Io's 10 plus assists coincides with how well offensively Vooch has been playing. Come on, folks. So all of this, trade Lonzo, and like I said before, what Lonzo does not show up in the basic stats. We can go a step further and look at team rating. When Lonzo was on the court, along with Alex Caruso, these guys were like top 10 in steals, which impacted the team's overall defense. The Bulls were top 10 in offense as well as defense. Now they're out of the top 10 now. But we can't argue that because that's not basic stats that we see in the box score after a game. So therefore, we got to trade Lonzo. This man is doing more. And that's the only reason why the eye test will tell us all the time that Lonzo Ball's backups, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Ayo Dosunmu, these guys pass the eye test. They do a lot more than just spot run a 3-1 line. So justifiably, a lot of fans will feel as if we don't need Lonzo. But failing to realize the Bulls got to score literally almost 120 points to beat their teams. Not seeing, okay, maybe Lonzo is that perfect team player in a sense. He's not there's an egotistical. I would kind of wish Lonzo would be a lot more egotistical. Sometimes it'd be a lot more selfish, considering how boisterous his father is. I would hope that Lonzo Ball would take on some of those characteristics on the court and really get his bag on his 3rd contract and really can possibly make an all-star team. All those aspects of Lonzo Ball game in which I hope that I can see. So we got to stop all this. Now let's look at the stats for a second. Let me preface this by saying I don't believe in dissing any NBA player, right? These guys are in the NBA for a reason. You can't hate on these guys. A lot of folks would dream to be in the NBA. At one point in time as a child, I would want to be like Michael Jordan. I want to be like Kobe, right? So you got to give these guys their props. But let's talk about from the state of arguing, right? And stating a point. Nickeil is averaging 12.8 points a game. But yet, folks were saying we don't need Lonzo. This man literally averaging 13 points. The same amount of points Lonzo's averaging. Lonzo's averaging 13. Nickeil's averaging 12.8 on the season. But we're saying, as fans, because Nickeil showed to be aggressive, he places pressure on the defense. He makes the defense work a little bit, which I would hope that Lonzo Ball will come back and do the same thing. But now we're saying, we don't need him because, look, this guy's better than Lonzo because this guy's doing more. The eye test is always getting a lot of fans, and I hate it. Now, prior to last night's game, I don't even want to talk about last night's game. In 14 starts, Aya was averaging 12 points per game, 7 assists, which ironically coincides with Vooch's rise all of a sudden. 14.1 rebounds, 56% from the field, 44 from 3, and 81% from free throw. And this averages they're about the same as Lonzo. Why we got to get rid of Lonzo now? Yet still, because Lonzo Ball's impact does not show up in the basic box scores. We gotta look at the advanced stats to kind of see what Lonzo Ball's impact really is. That's when we see Lonzo Ball's value. And as a Lonzo Ball fan, I can't sit in the barbershop. I can't even go on YouTube and argue with folks a lot of times. Because it's hard. Because Lonzo Ball stats does not show up on the basic stats, the box score. Not to mention, if you watch him in the game, on the offensive end, he looks lost. Like, hey, man, where's Lonzo at? Because he's not a ball-dominant point guard. He gives the ball up. The ball doesn't stay in the hand very, very long. His usage rate is about 17.1%, which is relatively low for an NBA point guard. Right? But again, you got to give Ayo his props. The man is in the NBA Rising Stars All-Star Weekend for a reason. Is it still a draft? Yes, he is. But we can't start all this, because he's a hometown kid, Illinois product. We can't sit up here and say, hey, we gotta get rid of Lonzo. But why is the team, why is the defense all of a sudden suffering? Why teams are blowing us out all of a sudden on the offensive end? You don't think at the point of the attack, at the perimeter, we know that Vooch is a defensive liability. So we need perimeter players to stop perimeter players on the perimeter. In the paint, oh my gosh. What shot blockers do we have? That's when you have Alex Caruso. That's when you have Lonzo to really stop the shutdown defender, shut down penetration, because once they get past that first line of defense, who do we have? Who do we have by that last line of defense? Again, this has to stop. This is my royal perspective. This is by no means a hate towards Ayo Dosunmu. The young man is balling. He's doing his props. I'm going to celebrate Ayo, by far the steal of the draft, and I pray that God blesses this young man to be all he can be. But as a Lonzo Ball fan, can we stop all this? Every time he has a backup, who shows more offensive aggressiveness? Who shows a multifaceted or a non-pattern game? Because Lonzo chooses to play at one pattern and one pattern only the majority of his career, which is a spot-up three-point shooter, getting his offense within the offense versus not necessarily creating offense off the dribble for others or himself, unless it's on the fast break. You gotta stop that. It's the reason why the Bulls are no longer top 10 in defensive rating. As a matter of fact, according to some stats, man, like the Bulls are like 22nd in the past 20 games or so. Right? And there's a reason why they're 22nd, which places them 20th overall with a defensive rating of 110. There's a reason why, according to stats. It doesn't coincide with the fact that we lost Lonzo. Doesn't coincide with the fact that we lost Alex Caruso. But yet and still, when the playoffs comes, who we gonna shut down? Who we gonna shut down? When we know we gotta deal with, if we deal with Joel Embiid, which happened last night, we in trouble. When we deal with Steph Curry, who gonna stop that dude? That dude can shoot the dribble, mid range, 3-point. You already know 3-point. This school's a sniper. I'm gonna cut this video, man. I'm just really, frustrated and a little tired of this whole Lonzo Ball, trade him every time his backup comes in and shows a little bit more of a sample size of what they can do. When the stats don't lie, if you want to look at the box score, we look at what they do. Lonzo Ball impact cannot be measured just on basic box scores. We have to look at advanced stats, and we have to look beyond even the eye test. It's overall culture, it's overall unselfishness, its impact transcends beyond what we can actually see with our own eyes. We can't see these guys in the locker room. We can't even quantify in terms of numbers how these guys feel when Lonzo Ball is on the court, his impact. All right, so that being said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe. As a passionate Lonzo Ball fan, passionate Bulls fan, hey man, support both of these brothers, man. Ayo, we celebrate you. Lonzo, best recovery, man. We can't really get all you guys back, man. Peace.